Now the next topic in atomic structure is electronic configuration of the elements. It is defined as the distribution of electrons into orbitals of an atom is called its electronic configuration, that can be represented in the form of NLX method, where n is equal to principal quantum number, L is equal to azimuthal quantum number. That means principal quantum number indicates the shell, azimuthal quantum number indicates the subshell, and very important point is X indicate total number of electrons present in given subshell. For example, 3d10 indicates 10 electrons are present in a d subshell. That d subshell belongs to third energy level. That means the electronic configuration of any element in the periodic table can be represented in the form of NLX. If you want to write the electronic configuration of any element in the periodic table, three principles are used, already known to you. One is Abbo principle, second one is Pauli's exclusion principle, and third one is Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. With the help of these three principles, the distribution of electrons into various available orbitals in an atom is called its electronic configuration. Now see some of the examples. Here these two are the very first elements in the periodic table. One is hydrogen, other one is helium. Hydrogen atomic number is 1 and its electronic configuration is in the form of NLX, that is 1s1. This is the electronic configuration of hydrogen. And helium containing 2 electrons, its electronic configuration is 1s2. Elements are lithium, beryllium. Lithium atomic number is 3, beryllium atomic number is 4, and boron atomic number is 5. And then lithium electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s1, because its atomic number is 3. So this is in the form of NLX. And here Abbo principle, Pauli, Hund's rule are also applied. Beryllium atomic number is 4. Its electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2. And boron atomic number is 5. Its configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2px1. According to Abbo principle, Pauli's principle, and Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity, the boron electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2px1. And the next element is carbon. The carbon atomic number is 6. Its electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, and 2p2. 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. Carbon atomic number is equal to 6. So its electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, and 2p2. After that, This is the electronic configuration of carbon. Atomic number is 6. So according to Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity, its configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2px1 and 2py1. And the next element is nitrogen. The nitrogen atomic number is 7. According to Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity, electrons do not pair until each orbital in a subshell have one electron. So in the case of atomic number of nitrogen, its electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. That means 2p subshell maximum capacity is 6 electrons and each orbital containing 1 electron according to Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. So after the nitrogen, the next element is oxygen. Here, see here, this is the electronic configuration of nitrogen: 1s2, 2s2, 2px1, 2py1, 2pz1. Apply Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Each orbital containing 2 electrons, one is in clockwise, other should be in anti-clockwise. And this is the meaning of Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. According to Hund's rule, each orbital present in 2p subshell having 1 electron. After that, oxygen atomic number is 8. Its configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. So its representation is 2 electrons are present in 1s orbital, 2 electrons are present in 2s orbital, and the 4 electrons are present in 2p subshell. Apply Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity: 2px containing 2 electrons and 2py containing 1 electron and 2pz also containing only 1 electron. And the next element is fluorine. Each and student should know how to write the electronic configuration of elements in the periodic table at least up to atomic number 30. So the next element is fluorine. Its atomic number is 9. So its configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p5. So 1s2, 2s2, 2px2, 2py2, 2pz1. After that, neon atomic number is 10. So in the case of neon, all the p orbitals are completely filled with the electrons. So the final point is, with the help of Above principle, Pauli's principle and Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity, it is possible to write the electronic configuration of any element in the periodic table. But in the periodic table, in first transitional series, some of the elements shows abnormal electronic configuration due to this reason. Completely filled and half filled orbitals are more stable than the incompletely filled orbitals. The reason is due to completely filled orbitals and half filled orbitals, that configuration possess more symmetry. That's why they shows that configuration shows relatively small shielding, smaller Coulombic repulsions energy due to mutual exchange of electrons from one position to other position. Lowering of energy is more, that's why stability is more. A system of lower energy is more stable than the system of higher energy. So very very important point is, if the subshell is half filled or completely filled, now that configuration shows more symmetry. For example, P subshell containing 3 p orbitals. The maximum number of electrons present in p subshell is equal to 6. Half filled configuration means P3. This is the meaning of symmetry. Symmetry means all the electrons are in same spin. That means clockwise spin. That is the meaning of symmetry. If it is completely filled, now in each orbital spin is balanced. That's why when compared with the half filled configuration, completely filled configuration is more stable. That's why due to more symmetry and they possess relatively small shielding, that means they possess small Coulombic repulsions in between them, because out of 6 electrons, 3 are in clockwise spin, the remaining 3 are in anti-clockwise spin. That means in each and every orbital spin is balanced. That's why this configuration is more stable. P6 configuration is more stable than P3 configuration. In the similar way, D subshell half filled means the maximum number of electrons present in D subshell is equal to 10. So this is the half filled electronic configuration of D subshell. D5. So this is the meaning of symmetry. All the electrons are in similar spin, all are in clockwise spin. That's why they shows mutual exchange, because all the electrons are in same spin, all are in clockwise spin. That's why due to mutual exchange of electrons from one orbital to another degenerate orbital, some amount of energy is lost by the system. That is known as lowering of energy. Due to mutual exchange of electrons, lowering of energy is more. Lowering of energy is more means stability is also more. So when compared with the D5 configuration, D configuration is more stable, because all the orbitals are completely filled with the electrons. That means in each and every d orbital spin is balanced. According to Pauli, maximum number of electrons present in any orbital is equal to 2. One is in clockwise, other should be in anti-clockwise. That means in D10 electronic configuration, in each and every d orbital spin is exactly balanced. That's why when compared to D5 configuration, D10 electronic configuration is more stable. So very important point is, half filled or completely filled orbitals are more stable than the incompletely filled orbitals due to more symmetry. Due to more symmetry, they possess relatively small shielding, smaller Coulombic repulsions, because all the electrons are in 5 out of 10 electrons, 5 are in clockwise, the remaining 5 are in anti-clockwise. That's why they shows smaller Coulombic repulsions energy, because in each and every orbital spin is equally balanced. So they shows mutual exchange. This electron goes to here and this one comes to here. So due to mutual exchange of electrons from one position to other position, lowering of energy takes place. That means that configuration acquires more stability. So half filled or completely filled orbitals are more stable. The incompletely filled orbitals, this type of configuration is observed in first transitional series. That means 6th B group and 1st B group elements. So due to mutual exchange of the electrons, lowering of energy takes place. Due to more symmetry, due to mutual exchange of the electrons, lowering of energy is more. Now the formula used to calculate lowering of the energy is equal to total of possible exchangeable coordinates into k, where k is known as average exchange of the energy of set of two parallel spin electrons. For example, chromium atomic number is 24. Its outer configuration is, actual outer electronic configuration is argon 4s2 3d4 actually. That means 4s orbital containing 2 electrons, 3d subshell containing 4 electrons like this. Here the number of parallel spin electrons is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the number of parallel spin electrons in the outer electronic configuration of chromium is 4s2 3d4. The formula used to calculate lowering of energy is equal to total number of possible exchangeable coordinates can be calculated by using the formula NC2. This is the formula used to calculate total number of possible exchangeable coordinates, where N indicate number of parallel spin electrons. In 4s2 3d4, number of parallel spin electrons is equal to 5. So this is equal to 5c2. 5c2 indicate 5 factorial divided by 2 into NC2 indicate n factorial divided by 2 into n minus 2 factorial, that means 5 minus 2 factorial, that is equal to 3 factorial. So this is nothing but 5 factorial indicate into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 divided by 2 into 3 factorial. 3 into 3 factorial means 3 into 2 into 1. Now these are cancelled together. Now the number of possible exchangeable coordinates is equal to 5 into 2, 10. So for 4s2 3d4 outer electronic configuration, lowering of energy is equal to lowering of energy is equal to total number of possible exchangeable coordinates, which is equal to 10 by using permutation combinations formula NC2, where N indicate number of parallel spin electrons. In 4s2 3d4, number of parallel spin electrons is equal to 5. So value of N is equal to 5. So NC2 indicate N factorial divided by 2 into N minus 2 factorial. So here value of N is equal to 5 because there are 5 parallel spin electrons in 4s2 3d4 outer configuration of chromium atomic number 24. Now from this formula, the lowering of energy is equal to total number of possible exchangeable coordinates, that means 10 into 10 into k, where is average exchange of energy for a set of 2 parallel spin electrons. If this electron jumps into this orbital, if this electron comes into this orbital, due to mutual exchange of these 2 parallel spin electrons, some amount of energy was lost by the system, which is equal to k on average. Now for this configuration, for 4s2 3d4 configuration, lowering of energy is equal to 10k, but the chromium shows anomaly electronic configuration. That means the anomaly electronic configuration of chromium 24 is argon 4s1 3d5, 4s1 3d5. To get half filled electronic configuration, one electron jumps from 4s orbital to 3d orbital. Now in this case, number of parallel spin electrons is equal to 5 plus 1, that is equal to 6, that is equal to 6. Now apply the formula 6C2, that means 6 factorial divided by 2 into 4 factorial, that is equal to 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 divided by 2 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So these are cancelled together. Now the possible exchangeable coordinates is equal to 15. But in 4s2 3d4, number of possible exchangeable coordinates is equal to 10, because in this configuration number of parallel spin electrons is equal to 5. But in 4s1 3d5, number of parallel spin electrons is equal to 6. So for this configuration, lowering of energy is equal to 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 the 15 into 15 into k. So when compared to this value is more. That's why chromium shows anomalous electronic configuration. That chromium violated the Abbo principle, because half filled orbitals are more stable than the incompletely filled orbitals. That's why chromium shows abnormal electronic configuration, that means anomalous electronic configuration. So due to mutual exchange of electrons, lowering of energy is more when compared to this. In this case, lowering of energy is more. Lowering of energy is more means stability of that configuration is also more. That's why in the long form periodic table, both chromium and copper shows anomalous electronic configuration. In the case of copper, 3D subshell is completely filled with the electrons. When compared with 3D 5, 3D 10 configuration is more stable. So finally, due to more symmetry, half filled and completely filled orbitals are more stable than the incompletely filled orbitals. So in the long form periodic table, first transitional series elements are scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper and zinc. Scandium, atomic number is 21. Atomic number is 21. This is 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and zinc atomic number is 30. And scandium belongs to third B group in the periodic table. This is fourth B group and fifth B group, and this is sixth B group, and manganese belongs to seventh B group, and iron, cobalt, nickel belongs to eighth B group, and copper belongs to first B group, and zinc belongs to second B group. While writing the IIT JEE main exams, each and every student should know electronic configuration of first transitional series in D block. And now scandium outer electronic configuration is argon 4s2 18 plus 2 20 4s2 and 3d1 18 plus 2 20 plus 1 21. And titanium atomic number is 22, so its outer electronic configuration is 4s2 3d2 18 20 plus 2 22. After that vanadium atomic number is 23. Now argon 4s2 3d3 4s2 3d3. And then very important point is chromium. That means in the long form periodic table, sixth B group element shows anomalous electronic configuration to get half filled outer electronic configuration. It is already known to you. So chromium outer electronic configuration is, that means in chromium above principle is violated to get half filled configuration in 3D subshell. So chromium anomalous electronic configuration, you should remember that sixth B group elements shows abnormal electronic configuration to get half filled outer electronic configuration, that means to attain the stability. Now chromium anomalous electronic configuration is 4s1 3d5 Now manganese atomic number is 25. Argon now its configuration is 4s2 3d5 20 plus 5 25. Now very important example is iron atomic number is 26. So its outer electronic configuration is its outer electron configuration is 4s2 3d6. Iron, cobalt, nickel belongs to similar group. After that, cobalt, atomic number is 27. Its outer configuration is argon 4s2 3d7, and then nickel, atomic number is 28. Its outer electronic configuration is 4s2 3d8. And copper, very important point is, in the long form periodic table, first B group elements shows anomalous electronic configuration to attain the completely filled outer electronic configuration. So its configuration is 4s1 3d10, 4s1 3d10. So first B group elements, copper group elements also shows abnormal electronic configuration like 6th B group elements. And final one is zinc. Zinc atomic number is 30. Its outer electronic configuration is argon 4s2 3d10. So each and every student should remember what is the outer electronic configuration of first transitional series elements in D block. Nothing but 3D series elements in this configuration. Very important point is to get half filled and completely filled outer electronic configuration, chromium group, that means 6th B group and 1st B group elements shows abnormal electronic configuration. So this is about the electronic configuration of the elements, some of the elements in the periodic table with help of Bohr principle, Pauli's principle and Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Now, what is the main difference between orbit and orbital? According to Bohr's theory, orbit is a well-defined circular path around the nucleus in which an electron moves. It is already known to you from Bohr's atomic model. Bohr proposed the stationary orbits for the revolving electron. It is a well-defined circular path around the nucleus in which an electron moves. Now, orbital, according to quantum mechanical model of the atom, orbital means it is the region of space around the nucleus where the probability of finding the electron is 95%. The shape of the s orbital is spherically symmetrical. The shape of the p orbital is dumbbell. The shape of the d orbital is double dumbbell. The shape of the f orbital is complex. So these 2 points are already known to you. Now the other difference between these two is orbit represents the motion of the electron around the nucleus only in one plane. It has no three-dimensional concept for the stationary orbit, because according to Niels Bohr, electron shows only particle nature. That's why Bohr's theory gives flat model of an atom. That means that orbit represents moment of the electron around the nucleus in only one plane. But according to quantum mechanical model of the atom, orbital represents the three-dimensional moment of the electron around the nucleus. That means orbital is represented in three-dimensionally. Px orbital, py orbital, pz orbital. Among 4 orbitals, s orbital non-directional in nature because L is equal to 0, m is equal to 0. P, D and F orbitals are directional in nature. So that is the main difference between orbit and orbital. Orbital represents the three-dimensional movement of the electron around the nucleus, but orbit represents the movement of the electron around the nucleus in only one plane. This is according to Bohr's theory. This is according to quantum mechanical model of an atom. And the other difference between orbit and orbital is, very important difference in between these two is, according to Bohr's concept, the position as well as momentum of the electron can be known with certainty because electron revolves around the nucleus in stationary orbit. But according to orbital concept, it is impossible to determine the exact position and momentum of the electron with complete certainty. It is impossible to determine the exact position and momentum of the electron. So this is about the difference between orbit and orbital. And then next topic in this chapter is paramagnetism and diamagnetism. Para means attraction. Para means attraction. Para means attraction towards the applied magnetic field. Dia means repulsion. Dia means repulsion. This is attraction towards the applied magnetic field, that is repulsion, thrown out from the applied magnetic field. If the atom, ion, which is having unpaired electrons, if they are placed in a strong magnetic field, due to the presence of unpaired electrons, those atoms or ions shows attraction towards the applied magnetic field. That property is known as paramagnetism. So para means attraction. That attraction arises due to the presence of unpaired electrons in the given atom or ion. So if the electron is free, that electron shows attraction towards the applied magnetic field. That is called paramagnetism. It can be calculated by using the formula square root of n into n plus 2, very, very important formula. The paramagnetic moment mu is equal to square root of n into n plus 2, where n is number of unpaired electrons. The unit of paramagnetic moment is Bohr magneton. The paramagnetic moment is expressed in terms of Bohr magneton unit. One Bohr magneton is equal to 9.274 into 10 power minus 24 ampere into meter square. And square root of n into n plus 2 is nothing but square root of 4s into s plus 1. Square root of 4s into s plus 1. Here the paramagnetic moment is square root of n into n plus 1. So both are same. Both are exactly same. In this square root of 4s into s plus 1, where s is equal to clockwise spin, unpaired electron always revolves around the nucleus in clockwise direction. That's why plus 1 by 2 into n. Substitute this value in this equation or expression. The final answer is square root of n into n plus 2. Both are exactly same. So the paramagnetic moment can be calculated by using the formula square root of n into n plus 2 Bohr magneton, where n is equal to number of unpaired electrons. If the atom or ion having more number of unpaired electrons, that atom or ion shows more attraction towards the applied magnetic field. Opposite statement is diamagnetism. Dia means repulsion. If the atom or ion having paired electrons, if that atom or ion is placed in the strong magnetic field, due to the presence of the paired electrons, that atom or ion is thrown out from the applied magnetic field. That means repulsion takes place because of the absence of the unpaired electrons in the second case. That property is known as diamagnetism. In the long form periodic table, all inert gases are having completely filled orbitals. If they are placed in strong magnetic field, due to the absence of the unpaired electrons, they shows diamagnetic property because there is no free electron. All are completely, that all the orbitals are completely filled with the electrons. So those atoms or ions does not exhibit paramagnetism. That means they shows diamagnetism property. So opposite statement. Very important point in this topic is, this is the formula used to calculate paramagnetic moment of an atom or ion. So this is about the paramagnetic and diamagnetic. Now some problems based on these topics. If the atomic number of the element is 26, how many electrons are present in third energy level if it is in +3 oxidation state? M element atomic number is 26, indicate its outer electronic configuration is argon 4s2 3d6. It is already known to you how to write the electronic configuration of first transitional series element in the long form periodic table. 26 means this is nothing but iron. Now its outer configuration is 4s2 3d6. Very important point in this question is, if you want to remove the electron from any d block element, first remove the electrons from outermost orbital and then penultimate orbital. Here outermost orbital is ns. Penultimate orbital is n-1d. First remove the electrons from ns orbital because this is outermost. After that, the remaining electrons are removed from penultimate orbital. That is the concept while writing the electronic configuration of the ions in d block. D block elements are known as transitional metals. Metals always possess positive charge. They always lose their outermost electrons. So if you want to remove the electron from any d block metal, first remove the electrons from outermost orbital. Now this is the outermost orbital. Please remember that. That's why here the charge is +3, indicate this element loses 3 electrons. First remove the electrons from 4s. That means 4s0. The remaining electron should be removed from 3d. So this becomes 3d5. So this is the outer configuration of m+3. Now find out the total number of electrons present in third energy level. So its configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s0 and 3d5, both are same. Now third shell means n is equal to 3. So 2 plus 8 plus 5, that is equal to 13 electrons are present in M shell of M plus 3 ion. So here the main concept in this question is, if you want to remove the electrons from any d block metal, first remove the electrons from outermost and then penultimate. Outermost means ns, penultimate means n d. That is the concept here. Similarly, in the next question, chromium atom in its ground state, that means abnormal electronic configuration of chromium is the abnormal electronic configuration of the chromium is chromium atomic number is 26, its configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s1 and 3d5. This is the abnormal electronic configuration of chromium. Atomic number is 24. You should remember the atomic numbers of first transitional series elements in D block, compulsory. Now total number of orbitals populated by one or more electrons. Here this 1, 2, 2 plus 3, 2p subshell containing 3p orbitals, 2 plus 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, d subshell containing 5d orbitals. That's why in chromium abnormal electronic configuration, total number of orbitals populated by one or more number of electrons is equal to 15. 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 3 plus 5. So that is the answer about that question. And the other question is, what are the 4 quantum number values for the 5th electron in boron? So in the long form periodic table, boron atomic number is 5, its electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2 and 2px1. Now the 5th electron is present in 2p subshell. 2p subshell. This is the 5th electron. So in 2px, it is similar to NLX. It is similar to NLX. So value of n is equal to 2. Value of n is equal to 2. For p subshell, value of L is equal to 1. Now values of m are -1, 0, +1. So 5th electron is present in m is equal to -1. And all singly filled electrons are in clockwise spin. That's why the value of S is equal to +1/2 or clockwise spin. The arrow mark head pointing upward indicate electron spin is in clockwise orientation. So that's why it is already known to you, each and every electron has 4 quantum number values. That means this 5th electron present px orbital, that means present in p subshell, that p subshell belongs to second energy level. So that is the way of calculation of the 4 quantum number values for the fifth electron in the case of boron. Now the second question is the correct set of 4 quantum number, or not 4, 3 quantum numbers n, l, m for the unpaired electron in chlorine atom. Chlorine atomic number is 17. Chlorine atomic number is 17. Its configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s2, 3px2 and 3py2 and 3pz1 according to Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. That means 3p subshell containing 5 electrons, 1, 2, 3 according to Hund's rule. This is 4th electron and this is 5th electron. So here the question is, what are the n, l, m values for the unpaired electron? Now this is the unpaired electron in chlorine. For that electron, this is similar to NLX. Now value of n is equal to 3. For p subshell, value of L is equal to 1. Now m is equal to -1, 0, +1. Therefore value of m is equal to +1. Unpaired electron means the spin is +1/2 or clockwise spin. So if you want to write the 4 quantum number values for the unpaired electron in chlorine atom, the answer is 3, 1, +1 and +1/2. So for n, l, m values for the unpaired electron in chlorine, the answer is 3, 1, 1. And then other one is the number of different spatial arrangements for the orbital with L is equal to 2. According to magnetic quantum number, total values of m is equal to 2l plus 1. Total values of m indicate total number of orbitals present in a subshell. Both are same. That's why here value of L is equal to 2. Therefore 2 into 2 plus 1. Therefore total values of m is equal to 5. So total values of m indicate the total number of orbitals. This is nothing but total number of orbitals. That means orientations, spatial orientations. So according to magnetic quantum number concept, total values of m is equal to 2l plus 1. That's why for the T subshell, value of L is equal to 2. So 2 into 2 plus 1. So the total values of m is nothing but total number of orbitals present in a D subshell is equal to 5. That is equal to 5. Next question is, among the ions Fe plus 2, Cu plus 1, Ni plus 3, which ion having maximum number of unpaired electrons? Now first write the neutral atom electronic configuration. That means iron atomic number is 26, its outer electronic configuration is 4s2 3d6 actually. Iron plus 2 indicate 2 electrons are removed from 4s. That's why iron plus 2 configuration is argon 4s0 and 3d6. So 3d subshell containing 6 electrons like this. 3d6. Now value of n is equal to 4 for iron plus 2. 4 unpaired electrons are present in ferrous ion. Similarly, copper shows anomalous configuration. It is argon 4s1 and 3d10. Copper plus 1 means one electron is removed from 4s. That's why 4s0, 3d10. That means the number of unpaired electrons in copper plus 1 is 0. Similarly, nickel, iron, cobalt, nickel. That means nickel atomic number is 28. Its configuration is argon 4s2 3d8. 4s2 3d8. 4s2 3d8. Now nickel plus 3 configuration is 4s0 and 3d7. 4s0 3d7. That means 3d subshell containing 7 electrons like this. 5. This is 6th one and 7th one. So there are 3 unpaired electrons in nickel plus 3. So more number of unpaired electrons are present in iron plus 2, which is equal to 4. There are no unpaired electrons in copper plus 1, and nickel plus 3 contain 3 unpaired electrons. Now another question is, arrange the following in the increasing order of their paramagnetic moment. Paramagnetic moment depends upon number of unpaired electrons. So paramagnetic moment mu is equal to square root of n into n plus 2 Bohr magneton. So here vanadium, scandium, titanium, vanadium. So scandium 21, titanium 22, vanadium 23. So 23, its outer configuration is argon 4s2 3d3. So number of unpaired electrons is equal to 3. And after that, chromium 24, argon 4s1 3d5. So number of unpaired electrons is equal to 6. After that, manganese 25. So its configuration is 4s2 3d5. So number of unpaired electrons is equal to 5. So more number of unpaired electrons are present in chromium, less number of unpaired electrons are present in vanadium. So the paramagnetic moment increases from vanadium to manganese and manganese to chromium. So very important point is the paramagnetic moment is directly proportional to number of unpaired electrons. If the atom or ion containing more number of unpaired electrons, that atom or ion shows more paramagnetic moment. So in the abnormal electronic configuration of chromium, there are 6 unpaired electrons. That's why chromium shows more paramagnetic property when compared to vanadium and manganese. Vanadium and manganese. And the next question is, the paramagnetic moment of copper atom is, this is the formula. The paramagnetic moment mu is equal to square root of n into n plus 2 Bohr magneton. Here the atom is copper. Atomic number is 29. Its configuration is 4s1, 3d10, anomalous configuration. So number of unpaired electrons is equal to 1. Now calculate the paramagnetic moment of copper is equal to square root of n into n plus 2, that means 1 plus 2 Bohr magneton. This is equal to root 3 Bohr magneton. Root 3 is equal to 1.732 Bohr magneton. So in the chapter paramagnetic moment, formula is square root of n into n plus 2 Bohr magneton. In copper, number of unpaired electrons is equal to 1. So apply the formula and the paramagnetic moment of copper is equal to root 3 Bohr magneton, that is equal to 1.732 Bohr magneton. Now up to this, the atomic structure chapter is completed. I hope this information is very useful for appearing IIT JEE examinations and EAMCET examinations also. So thank you one and all.